Hi guys, and welcome to part 5 in this series on the life of Bruce Lee. I'm trying to condense it into these short videos. It's quite hard, but I'm trying to give it a go. So if you could like and share the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be amazing. And any comments, questions or suggestions, whatever you got, drop them in the comment section below and I'll be more than happy to help or answer your questions. So from the last video, we left it about 1970-71, where Bruce couldn't get in a Hollywood, in the film industry or in the TV industry, so he got a bit disappointed. So went back to Hong Kong, relocated to Hong Kong with his family to pursue his film career. Okay, so when he moved back to Hong Kong, he done various demonstrations on like Hong Kong television stations. Now, one of them, Raymond Chow, who was worked, I believe at that time, was one of the Shaw brothers, which was at that time like massive in China. That was all the kung fu films you imagine were pretty much Shaw brothers. Now that is where he saw Bruce do his demonstrations, and he at that time Raymond Chow was just starting his own production company, which was Golden Harvest. So he wanted these stars, basically, or up and coming, or people who could become stars, to work for him, star in his films. So he got in contact with Bruce. Now, Bruce at that time in Hong Kong was fairly well known anyway because of the Green Hornet. I don't think Bruce was a fan of his own performance in the Green Hornet. He thought he wasn't being true to himself. Didn't do a very good acting job in it. However, when he came back to China, he realised that actually that was pretty popular back there, and they even renamed it the Kato Show. Now, Kato was the part Bruce Lee played in Green Hornet. So there is also a remake of the Green Hornet as a film. I believe it's, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, starring people like Seth Rogen and people like that. So yeah, so he was a big star there anyway, or fairly big. But Raymond Chow brought him in to be in his first major film. Now this film was set in Thailand and was to be Bruce's, well, it was a smash hit. I think it broke box office records in Hong Kong and was of course The Big Boss, which was released in 1971. Now, this film, Bruce had very little. He was the major star of the film, and as it turned out, he was really the one to notice in that film. I mean, without him, a lot of his early films wouldn't really have been much, to be honest. He was kind of the one who lifted it. People watched those films because of Bruce Lee. So that smashed box office records. So his next film, which was made in also 1971, Fist of Fury. Now, Fist of Fury, again, he didn't have much to do with it. He was a major star, and he could have suggestions and things, but the deal with Raymond Chow was, I think it was a 2-picture deal, where Bruce would star in his films, and that's that really. Now, at the end of Fist of Fury, that smashed previous box office records, which makes, by this time, after The Big Boss, and especially Fist of Fury, which was released around 1972, Bruce was a major star in Hong Kong. Okay. Now then, I think when his contract ended, Bruce continued to work with Raymond Chow on his next picture, which was The Way of the Dragon. Now, this point, it completely changed the game because Bruce set out his terms. He created his own production company, Concord Productions, in partnership with Raymond Chow, number one. He obviously starred in The Way of the Dragon. He was a major star. He had partly director, partly scriptwriter, a lot of different things. He had input in absolutely everything, and he studied these things also, because he was a studier in his whole life. His martial arts philosophy, remember, from his university, different styles of martial arts, which was why Jeet Kune Do developed as it was, very eclectic martial art. So he studied all these things, and he brought people in, such as Bob Wall, that he knew from America, who was a karate champion, and anyone, of course, now know Chuck Norris. And also, Chuck Norris he brought in, and they used to have this big fight scene at the Coliseum, which was, I believe, to this day, kind of recognised as being at least one of the greatest fight scenes ever. In my opinion, the greatest. But there you go. So that, I believe, again, smashed box office records. And by this time, Bruce Lee was massive in Hong Kong. This was around late 1972. Now, late 1972, he was then to begin working on a film that was never completed. Well, it was completed, but he filmed a few different fight scenes in it, and it was to become the Game of Death. Now, he filmed a few fight scenes, which become, I think, around 30-40 minutes worth, but it was never to be completed. So, on the next video, guys, I'll start off from there, and then when he finished his work on Game of Death, and then what's become Enter the Dragon. So until that video, guys, again, train hard and stay safe, and I'll see you then.